Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to CarMiZa. Just a quick video. In the last video I put up on YouTube, I prepared the entire car for Dynamat. As you can see, it's all ready to go. And I have started Dynamatting. Today, by the way, is September 5th, Labor Day, 2022. So in terms of that prep, that took about 65 hours to get to where I was able to start Dynamatting. So I, as some of you know, spent a little over 20 years in car audio. So I have done my fair share of Dynamatting, but it's been quite a while, a solid 15, almost 20 years probably since I've applied this stuff. The old stuff I put on was the asphalt base. This is the new butyl base. So pretty similar to work with. Not terribly difficult. So about this door, I just wanted to kind of give an introduction and show people the way I'm doing this, and maybe hopefully give you some pointers. To actually apply the Dynamat on this door after having everything cleaned in these, I got this cover panel down here as well. I'll show you that in a minute. Just to apply the Dynamat and the Dynataper on the perimeter took me 7 hours. There is 20 square feet of Dynamat in this door, which is the equivalent of 9 pounds. There are 2 layers on this outer door skin. You can see I did everything inside of there, all the way in as well. Even including this beam, this round crash beam. And then on this outside section, there is 1 layer. There's some overlapping, so you know, maybe some of it has a little bit more than 1 layer, but generally speaking, 2 layers on the outside skin, 1 layer on the inside. And let's talk about these panels again. So this panel is installed, and as you can see, again, all stainless steel hardware here, and then the aluminum rivet inserts all the way along for these. These panels, I ended up Dynamatting. Let me grab this. This one, they're heavy at this point. So this one obviously, as you can see, a little tricky to hold. It's going to go right in there. The door panel fits on perfectly fine, and this obviously really is going to block out a lot of the road noise, which is the objective. Obviously, I'm going to be doing plenty of additional foam later, Dynaliner. So this panel, I did both the front and the back. Again, this started as a piece of ABS, 1/8 inch ABS plastic that I was able to, as you can see, there's some shape to it, to kind of hug it around that area. And then there is, again, 16 gauge steel on either side. I used aluminum rivets. You can kind of see the heads of the rivets here, the tails of the rivets, I should say, coming through, just to make it as solid as possible. All right. Let's see. And then again, so the Dynamat, in terms of the weight, 9 pounds on the door. These panels, before Dynamat, the 2 of them were a little over 5 pounds. So we're probably close to 15 pounds of added weight on the door. Hopefully the hinges are right, because that's quite a bit of weight. But the thing already feels like a tank, which is great. Couple of other things I wanted to show that I haven't shown in the last video. Let's talk about some of this stuff that I'm using. In terms of a roller to apply the Dynamat, this is actually my original Dynamat roller from back in my car audio days, dating back to probably 1995, about when the car was originally built. It's rubber, it works pretty well, but it doesn't really lay the mat down real tight. These work great, these metal rollers, but they have grooves on them, and some people say they wreck the aluminum backing on the Dynamat. So I took a grinder and basically just took off the majority of the grooves. As you can see here, you can still see the remnants of the old grooves. But that then gives me, as you can see, like if I look like this, you can see it's not chewing up the aluminum, right? It does scrape off the paint a little bit on this black paint. I'm not too worried about how pretty this looks. It's all about function, right? Another thing I've been using is this little reamer tool. This is real handy when I want to go in and, let's say, get the Dynamat out of that hole. Just basically put this in. I'm just doing it by hand and just kind of spin it just to clean it out. make sure there's no residual, so that's helpful. I also have, this is just basically, and this is Harbor Freight, like $5. This is out of, once again, Harbor Freight, this tool, and it's basically just a hollow punch set. And what I'm doing with this, as you can see, is I wanted to remove the Dynamat around the rivets and keep it clean, right? Keep everything nice and neat. And that's what this tool allows me to do. So I basically took a, I have it, just a little nail. When this was Dynamated over, I took a nail from the backside, poked it through from the opposite side, put a hole in it. That gave me center, and then I basically just popped this in like that, moved it around. Once you break through the aluminum, that's basically it, and then pull the piece out, and that's it. So again, I want a nice clean look there, right? That I guess I do want. Couple of other old school tricks. Anything that when you're Dynamating or applying, you know, call it what you will, the material of choice, it's handy to have something with like a curved surface like this, or even, I used to use this a lot, the old snap-on screwdriver. And again, being able to contour the back with the back side of the snap-on screwdriver, it works quite well, okay? Couple of other things I recommend when doing, again, any kind of butyl-based sound deadening material. Most of these are black. The material is black, and if you try, as you're measuring and cutting, try using a black Sharpie, you don't see it. So pick yourself up a silver Sharpie, and it shows up much better. That's what I did. One of the other things that I'm using is this Dynatape. This basically is just a real thin aluminum tape, real sticky. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use it to cover all of my seams, and I'm just kind of playing around with it. But I used it on the perimeter of the door here and ran it all around. It basically, I like the fact that it covers the butyl and it gives you kind of a defined, clean, finished look. I think it looks pretty good. As a reminder, if you notice, I went in about 1 inch on the perimeter here. The door panels on this car go right up against this edge here, you know what I mean? So I basically have about 1 inch or so. That again is because the car is going to be painted, and I want to be able to have room where this can be taped and, you know, this can be painted, and I get a nice good finish there as well. Couple of other things with regard to Dynamat and applying it. I did ask some people, I know on some different pages, about whether or not I should use a heat gun. I am all about, like, if it's sticky, and then if you heat it up, it's going to be stickier. It's better, you know, heat it up. That's kind of my philosophy. My suggestion, unless you're in a climate that's really cold, I would not heat it up. I did try to use a heat gun, and it actually just made it a lot more difficult to work with, especially when you're trying to, you know, roll large pieces up inside of here, and it just gets caught up on everything. And then I also tried just laying it out in my driveway. It's 108 degrees right now here I'm just outside of Phoenix. And, you know, I put it out there in the sun and figured, all right, cool, this will get it nice and hot. It's too sticky. It's almost difficult to work with. The material, again, at ambient temperature, it sticks like crazy. When you roll it on, the stuff's not coming off. So I don't think there's any issue there. Again, just my suggestion. One other thing I did not mention in the prep video, and Earl brought this up, really important, folks, when you're doing Dynamat, these here are water drain holes. Don't mind my very dirty daily. I got caught in a monsoon storm the other day. These right here are your drain holes in the door. Typically, there's going to be one in the front and one in the back of each door. There was a ton of old Dynamat in this car. Obviously, I peeled off a whole bunch of the old asphalt stuff, and those holes were plugged up just from debris and dirt and old Dynamat. Make sure those are clear, especially when you're doing some kind of sound deadening material. Last thing you want to do is seal those off and end up with a problem where you're getting water trapped in the door rusts, and next thing you know, you get a big mess on your hands. All right, I think that is everything I wanted to discuss on this video. Again, just a quick video. In terms of the doors being solid, they are rock solid. I think this is probably as solid, if not a bit more solid. It feels heavy. I'm a little bit nervous about the hinges. again, especially when you get that cover on there. And again, that lines up, bolts right in, really nice. The doors are super solid. All right, folks, that should be it. Wish me luck. I got a whole lot of work to do here. This is, originally I was thinking maybe 50, 60 hours to Dynamat the entire inside of the car. It's probably gonna be 100 or more. So whatever it takes, that's what I'll do. And this should come out really solid. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.